Alright, let's get this out of the way. CK3's Chapter 3 looks to be easily the best DLC we've gotten for CK3 since launch. If you want my opinion on it, there you go. You can happily click off and know I'm ecstatic, and everything that follows from here will be a summary and a lot of shameless gushing. You've been warned. Alright. Yesterday around noon, at least it was for me, we received the long-awaited preview of the next chapter, along with a dev diary, Steam page, and the ability to purchase the pack as a discounted whole from Paradox like we have for the previous entries. This video will basically be my thoughts about the DLC, what I'm excited about, and what I'm curious about. If you're interested in that sort of thing, then why don't you have a little seat, grab yourself a little snacky, maybe put on a little blanket, I don't know, maybe want to get cozy, it's still cold outside, and let's get into it. The video started with a general overview and reveal of the 4 DLC included in the pack. I was actually surprised that the recent Africa cosmetic pack fell out of this. So that was a plus for me. I was a bit weary or leery, I guess, of that because I'm not a huge fan of paying for what is essentially a mod, but that's my own damage, so you don't have to follow me. This alleviated some of my discomfort with that. I still don't love the fact that there's a cosmetic pack in one of these DLCs, but that's here nor there. Not much I can do about it. We live with it, we move on. Then after this, we got a reveal for the Chapter 3's DLCs, which are in order of the planned release. Couture of the Capets, which is a French sort of cosmetic pack based on the, I believe it would be just like middle medieval French outfits. We had Legends of the Dead, which is our first core expansion, which I'm just very excited about that one. Roads to Power and Wandering Nobles. So I'm not going to explain what they are. I'm just going to give you that overview. That's what the DLC's names are, and then we'll jump into what they're actually about as they did in the video. So even at a first glance, kind of exciting because Legends of the Dead, already you're like, okay, that's clearly like Reaper's Due, but it's even more than that. Really, if you just read into these even for a second, you know, we're getting the Byzantine expansion, we're getting landless play. Landless play, I cannot stress this enough. Landless play. Reaper's Due, that's just 3 things, and there's so many more things. 2 of those are from one DLC. This is, I honestly can't believe it. I normally don't get this excited about anything related to this game because let's be frank, the last 2 DLC packs were pretty bad. This was either the time to put up or shut up, and Paradox literally took out their S tier golden hammer and smashed it on the anvil of amazing. Okay, this is it's unbelievable. The first DLC, which will come out, it actually came out already. It's Couture of the Capets. It is free. It is available right now if you buy the pack. Technically, not really free then if you have to pay the full, what would be $54.97, but is now $43.97. You get a little $11 discount. We'll talk about that in a second, but the first DLC that is not a cosmetic pack is going to be Legends of the Dead, which is scheduled to release on March 4th, less than a month from the announcement. Huge. Huge. And that will be $19.99. It is the first of the core expansion DLCs. It adds 3 new mechanics: Legends, Plagues, or Diseases, whatever you want to call them, and Legitimacy. Legends are essentially a way for players to create their own history, be it of a family member or their own character, and sort of generate reputation throughout the world, generate like a narrative. It could be like something like maybe you're playing as one of the heirs of Genghis Khan and you have a legend based around that. Maybe you're playing as one of the heirs of David in the Holy Land, like they had in the example. It could be anything. There's going to be new decisions, new actions, new ways to keep the story relevant around the continent. You're going to be able to have feasts with poets and bards who can come in and sing songs and odes to your family or your greatness. There's going to be legendary buildings, shrines, chroniclers. There's 2 new legacies added to this. I really like the legend system. I think this is probably the one I'm more intrigued about, to be honest with you. I like the idea of it spreading across the map, this sort of mythos about you and your family, which you can make as hyperbolous or as factual as you want. I think this plus the addition of the legitimacy system, which is another new feature. It's sort of like a resource that's added by this DLC, which is basically like a way for you to... It's almost like a grandeur mechanic is what it seems to me, like a grandeur mechanic, but for yourself, like as a ruler. Because I feel like before, courtiers and counselors would sort of hate the ruler based on pretty arbitrary reasons. You'd be constantly fighting back civil wars, pretty much for almost nothing half the time. It'd be like, oh, I don't like that guy's religion. We should definitely abolish his entire kingdom. Now it feels like there will be either a reason for them to love or to hate you, and it'll be kind of your own doing. You'll have that option. You can increase your legitimacy through winning wars, spreading your story, or you can lose it by letting plagues spread, which we'll talk about that in a second, or losing wars or other things, I'm sure. Now, obviously, this DLC also adds plagues and diseases, which is huge, but it also adds illnesses and mourning, like funeral rites, which I'm actually really curious about this too. So they're trying to put religious-specific funeral rites, so I would love to see what sort of screens, what sort of flavor text we get for that, because that sounds really exciting. Obviously the big one, the Black Death, coming in 1300 by default. You can of course change it, but that one will come through sort of like a boss, but a non-physical, I guess, sort of like a under the belly boss, and will kind of just rummage through your lands, killing a bunch of people. You'll have to figure out how you're going to survive that. Maybe you've built an empire, maybe you've rebuilt Rome, as a lot of you seem to like to do for some reason, and now it's being destroyed because the Black Death is just ravaging your lands. A nearby country, maybe they're like, ooh, now that your lands have been ravaged, I'm going to ravage you. You never know. It creates a dynamic story. I'm really excited for this. There's also going to be, and this one's interesting, so for those of you who've played Victoria 3, you're probably familiar with the map table from that game, where if you zoom out far enough, you can see sort of peripheral objects along the edge of the map. That's going to be added now to CK3, and I'm assuming with each DLC, we're going to be getting new features with that. I'm kind of interested in this. It's mostly just flavor, obviously, and of course there's probably going to be new UIs for all of these DLCs, that goes without saying, but I think it's cool. I think it adds a little bit of something. I'm more interested in the legend, like the story mechanic, because they show on screen, you may have seen it flash by already, I'm not sure, because I just sort of have the trailer like repeating on a loop here, because I'm a professional at this. Basically, it seems like it has a dynamic ability to like keep growing and keep creating new elements. I'm assuming that's out of a pool. I don't know if there's going to be like an AI generative system in game that allows it to create new images, which would be cool, but I mean, I guess we'll have to see. Either way, incredibly, incredibly excited for this one. I cannot believe that we're getting so much so soon. I mean, it's literally, it's the 6th right now. I mean, of course for y'all, it's going to be the 7th when this comes out, but it's the 6th. This comes out on the 4th. That's so close. I can't even, oh my God, I'm so excited. This one is going to be really, really good. Very excited for this one. Our second planned DLC, this one is supposed to come out in the quarter number 3. I guess it's technically the 3rd DLC, but you know what I'm saying. This is Roads to Power. Now, Roads to Power is interesting because this is the long-awaited Byzantine DLC. I have said it in a previous video, no DLC, no feature, no anything is more requested by the community as far as I have seen. I mean, there's other things, but very few things are more requested than the Byzantine expansion. This adds administrative government, family estates. It adds governors to the game who will squabble with each other, and they will rise and try to vie for power, while you, the emperor, if you are the emperor, try to have, put those down. You'll be able to improve your estate, which kind of feels like a precursor to maybe republics. It adds a influence system, not only to the administrative empire, but to something else, which I want to touch on in a second because I'm going to gush super hard over it. It adds new imperial management, so it's more like a bureaucratic system. You'll be able to choose a new successor, a new Caesar, all sorts of things with that. Obviously, new flavor. I'm assuming a new map as well. Like if we're getting a 3D map, I would assume that we'll get a Byzantine-themed one as well, along with new UIs, new everything. You know how the events go. Like if you get an expansion, this is the major expansion. Major expansions always add a lot. If this is anything like the previous ones, even if I don't love Royal Court, and I've admittedly said that, I think that it still does add a lot to the game. And this one I'm excited. I've never really played as a Byzantine. I feel like this is going to be the chance for a lot of people like myself who didn't really want to jump into that system because there was really only feudal systems in the game. And now it's a time to jump in there and give it a shot, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But the biggest thing, out of the entire announcement, nobody thought this was going to happen. I didn't think it was going to happen. I wanted this to happen. I'm breathless right now. I'm talking so fast. You guys know me. I'm normally very calm and candid. Stoic, but not right now. They're adding landless play. You are going to be able to play as a landless character, build up influence, climb the ranks, go from literally a dirt gremlin to an emperor. You are going to be able to go on adventures, do missions, do unique things, do chariot races, fight in tournaments. You're going to be able to do all of that. It is literally Mount & Blade, in my opinion, in Crusader Kings. I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say. I'm so curious to see how they do this. Apparently, there's also going to be landless adventurers in-game already, like El Cid was an example they gave. But what does this mean for the Hastein enthusiasts? Are they going to be able to make him landless and then just go roam about, causing the most awesome kind of ruckus you can imagine? I cannot wait to see what they do with this. Not only that, as you guys know, if you're familiar with me, I play a ton of mods on my channel, just a ton. I play mostly modded Crusader Kings 3, to be fair. I cannot imagine what this is going to mean for the modding community. It is huge. This is such a huge boon to them and to the game. I feel like this will indefinitely extend this game's lifetime. People will want to be buying DLC for this now for like 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Maybe not that long, but like, at least a few more years now that you have this option to create this incredibly dynamic story, also building up your own legend. It feels like a lot of these DLC play off each other, and we'll talk about that more as we get to the end, but they seem to be like an ever-expanding system, and they seem to be opening the door for future DLC. Like I was going to say, or I forgot to say, the legend system almost feels like it's opening the door for sainthood, if you guys remember that in the in Crusader Kings 2. And oh god, I'm just so excited. And again, like I said, the estate system sort of feels like it's opening the door for the Republic system. It kind of feels like it would play off of that. I hope it, because it does seem like a lot of this is specific to the Byzantine Empire. I do hope we see some of it come over to other empires, because it would be sort of silly if they didn't. I mean, obviously a lot of it doesn't apply, like administrative governments, but if there's like other things that could be ported over, I assume they will. I guess we'll have to see. I'm floored. I am floored by landless play. I cannot believe it. I don't think anybody could. Pretty much nobody thought this was going to be possible. Nobody thought this was going to happen. If you looked through the boards, people were like, "There's no way," or they were mad about it for some reason. I don't care about your opinion. It's amazing. I'm very excited. This is going to be probably the best DLC we've had for this game. 2 hugely asked for things in one pack. That's insane. I'm so hyped. And finally, we have Wandering Nobles, which is going to come out around Q4. I would assume for the Q3 release, maybe like July. Q4, maybe like November, like Legacy of Persia. I'm not sure. This one's interesting, though, and I feel like a lot of people aren't talking about it from what I've seen on the Discourse so far, because I've obviously been trolling the forums, because that's what I would do as a Crusader Kings nerd. But there's a new lifestyle. It's Wanderer, which is very cool, and it's going to have 3 new trees: Surveyor, Wayfarer, or Voyager, sorry. And each is going to have their own mini activity that you can do. Like as a surveyor, you can survey your lands, of course. You can journey to see far off monuments, and as a voyager, or you can explore the wilderness and, you know, maybe find something interesting there as a wayfarer. I think that's really cool. It seems like this system's going to be good for both a ruler and a landless character. Mostly landless, really. I can't imagine this being too useful. I don't know what the benefits would be. Maybe surveyor is what you would like switch to, or what you would spec into after you were done being a wanderer, or, you know, like a voyager or something. I don't know. We'll have to see. This one's obviously going to be a while yet, so I'm very curious about this one. And then they're just going to be expanding the travel system, which I think a lot of people really loved the travel system from Tours and Tournaments, which is, in my opinion, one of the best DLCs for Crusader Kings 3 at this point. It's in my top 3. It added so much, and if any of these are even close to that, this is going to be incredible. Now, we have to talk about the price. Okay, Legends of the Dead is going to be $19.99. Roads to Power, $29.99. That's quite a lot. I know expansions add a lot to the game, but I don't know if they add enough to justify being half the price of a new game. Or I guess now a little less than half because people are greedy, but whatever. Wandering Nobles is only $5, which that's a great deal. You get a whole new lifestyle. That one seems like a no-brainer to me. I'm also curious to see what sort of free things they add, because they always do add free things with these DLCs. Like how much of this is going to be in the purchasable packs and how much of it is going to be free. That's something that I'm very curious to see. We'll obviously have to wait in the coming weeks, and they'll obviously let us know, but I'm a little curious about that. I won't lie though, the $54.97 price tag, it's a discount right now, obviously, because of if you buy them all at once you get a discount, but it feels like it should be closer to maybe like $35, because truthfully, even though I own both DLC packs, I make videos on this game, obviously I like the game, but it feels more like the trust isn't earned for them to have raised the prices. I don't remember the other ones being this expensive. Maybe I'm wrong. I feel like they were like $40 at base value, and then they were like $35 or something for the discount. I don't know if I'm misremembering. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but it just feels a little high. So that's only my real big concern. I'm worried people won't be able to participate because the DLC keep getting so expensive. With that said, I think each of these DLC add a lot of much needed mechanical feature changes to the game, managing your legitimacy, diseases, spreading your influence, new forms of governments and lifestyles. I think all of those things add very asked for. I mean, landless play, come on. They add asked for mechanics to the game that are not simply role play window dressing. People were getting kind of sick of just the role play mechanics, and I think Chapter 3 was, to me, the pack that needed to come in and prove that Paradox knew what they were doing, and I think they've knocked that out of the park. We obviously haven't played these things yet, but just from what we've seen, and I mean, I think from their last couple DLC that we've gotten, like Tours and Tournaments and Legacy of Persia, I think we have a lot to be excited for, and I'm very, very, very excited for this. As you know, I've already purchased it. I'm going to be jumping in there day one, letting you guys know what I think about it. And yeah, I'm so hype. I cannot believe it. I'm very happy to be here with you all to experience this. I cannot wait. I'm so hype for mods like Agot or God Herja or like Elder Kings to get this landless play. I'm never going to go outside again. Who cares about Elder Scrolls 6? I'm going to be hunting Dremora in Elder Kings 2, baby. You know what I'm saying? If there's anything I forgot to mention, I'm sure there is. I'm very excited. I'm very breathless, as you can hear. I just got home. I'm riding my bike. I'm a little sick. I'm doing too many things, but I'm trying to get this to you so that you guys can have, my opinion, I guess, if you want that. I would assume you do because you subscribe to me, so thank you. I mean, honestly, this year looks like it's going to be the year of Crusader Kings 3. We are finally going to hit the highs that we wanted to for a while. No more negativity, at least I don't feel like there should be. This feels like steps in the right direction, and I can only imagine that Chapter 3 is going to build into it or an equally as impressive Chapter 4 next year. I think that we're finally moving in the right direction, and we have a lot to look forward to. But that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Soul. This has been my opinion on the Chapter 3 DLC. That's not going to be the name of the video because that's terrible, but you get it. Wow.